Hello friends, family and other creatures from the sea. Today we have perhaps the highest level possible Zerg versus Protoss. Here we have SERRAL as the blue Zerg playing for Team Ents in the top right of Data C. And in the bottom left we have the GSL Season 2 champion. It is going to be herO, who originally kind of stormed back into the scene with extremely powerful PvZ that doubled the triple Oracle style into a lot of Blink Stalkers. Now, he has changed his style ever since then, but we're still seeing a bit of it as well, every now and again. SERRAL is the player with currently the highest Illegal Lux ZVP rating. I believe it's somewhere around 3,500, which is just insanely high. Like, that's just a crazy number right there. And I believe that herO has the highest ZVP, or the highest PvZ rating. Maybe slightly lower than MaxSpecs. I'm not entirely sure about that. MaxSpecs has been performing a lot better in that matchup lately. He's been showing some good games there. And yeah, I'm really curious what's going to end up happening here. The funny thing is that when you play against SERRAL, it often feels like that he is completely bulletproof. You know, you'll think of like these little cheeses because you don't really want to go into a late game against him. And it's like, all right, this guy's bulletproof. He doesn't die. He doesn't take damage in the early game. His mechanics are simply too good. His understanding of the matchup is too good. But then there's one player that almost always manages to poke holes into that armor. And that is herO. herO is a player that can make the greatest defensive Zerg player look like an amateur. And often just with all he needs is 2 adepts, very often. 2 adepts and a dream is all he really needs. So this time he's going to be opening up with a Void Ray. Cancel there on that adept. So it's going to be a single adept into a 3rd base. This is a very fast 3rd here. It still is on 2 gateways, but because it only has a single gate unit, it does carry some risk against any type of early roach all-ins. Even a Link Flood could perhaps be a little bit tricky. Like a Link Flood plus drone pool would perhaps be difficult to hold. Do see with a Void Ray, of course, that it adds some safety into that mix, but we'll have to wait and see if SERRAL actually wants to do something aggressive, or if his response to this is just going to be build more drones. No, we have pneumatized carapace, while herO here is opening up with a triple Stargate opener. Look at that. Void Ray into triple Stargate opener. And this Overlord speed is going to be extremely important. This is a saving grace here for SERRAL, because usually... Actually, herO's already kind of showing it here with that +1. Now, SERRAL's a player that loves to sacrifice links to figure out whether something is researching on the Cybercore. And if you see the +1 researching on the Cybercore, you often know what it is. There is, however, one thing, of course, and that is, if you don't get the Overlord Scout in, the +1 could be fate. You know, there's like, oh, this is +1, but actually this is going to be an all-in. Like, this is not really going to go into triple Stargate. And because all that herO is showing right here is just a Void Ray, it is kind of tricky for SERRAL to figure out what is going on. It's like, hey, what is kicking off here? So this Overlord is extremely important. If this Overlord doesn't get the scouting info, I really do believe that SERRAL is going to be in a little bit of trouble. That Void Ray barely missed the Overlord. Look at that. No roaches on the way yet. Roach Warren is about to finish up. 2 more Queens coming out. We have extra gases coming in. Evo Chamber as well. As now, okay, Overlord is going to get the confirmation this indeed is that triple Stargate. Because just seeing the +1 researching often isn't good enough. Now, I actually kind of like that as an opener here. Out of both players. I think some very intelligent mind games going on here. Some great plays, but SERRAL definitely coming out ahead. After all of these like little mind games that have been going on in the first 5 minutes and 40 seconds of this game. As we now see these Phoenixes looking for some damage. No 4th base yet here. This is actually a bit of a bummer for SERRAL, because if he had gotten that 4th base down a bit faster, you can start droning up faster again. Every single drone that SERRAL builds at this point is going to be practically useless because it isn't saturating a base. This is just a really, really slow 4th base for SERRAL. Especially given that there's not going to be any major pressure coming in. So yeah, that's a little bit painful. Like these 8 drones that are being produced right now, these 11 drones that are being produced, will just be long distance mining, or we'll have to oversaturate one of these bases. Once again, there's a lot of Phoenixes out, 9 to be exact, but there's also 10 Queens already. herO's going to commit to this, but as a result is going to end up losing a single Phoenix and not really killing much of anything. Has lost a Void Ray and a Phoenix, killed 2 Overlords, 3 drones, and 3 Links, but I don't think that is quite enough if you're opening up with a triple Stargate. Well, it definitely isn't enough if you're opening up with a triple Stargate. Follow-up will be a third base that is pretty quick, but SERRAL spots that immediately, sends the links over. And what is the ground force here for hero? Well, it's practically non-existent, so this third base is going to get taken out as well. You have these Phoenixes still hunting for some damage, but they're not really finding anything, so it feels like SERRAL, with this early game scout of this Overlord speed, has completely shut down whatever hero wanted to do in this game. One queen perhaps in danger? No. Now this third base is going to be in a little bit of danger. Drones are starting to run away already, wanting to go to safety where there's more spores around as the queens make the rotation defensively. Overlord speed helps these overlords escaping as well. This is a pretty poor queen split, I have to admit. Can we get transfuses in time? 1, 2, 3. Yes, we definitely can. Phoenix goes down once more. This queen is in a little bit of danger perhaps. No. Honestly, hero has done nothing meaningful yet this game. He's killed 7 drones, an Overseer, 2 Overlords, and has lost 2 Phoenixes so far. The window for these Phoenixes isn't necessarily ending, but the window where every drone kill matters has ended a while ago already. Right now, if you kill 10 workers, that's nice for the Protoss, but at the same time, it's like, well, SERRAL can just rebuild them. Like, he's not gonna lose that much mining anymore. Like, he's already fully saturated on these bases. It is way easier to catch that type of loss if you're already up to 83 workers rather than when you're on 45 or on 50 workers initially. Like, if you lose 8 workers now, that's going to be 10%. If you lose 8 workers when you have 40 workers, that's going to be 20% of your income, and feel just a way harder blow to kind of catch and come back from. SERRAL already popping out a lot of these Corruptors, has a bunch of Queens out, and I think it's just going to follow this up with a Queen Roach Corruptor type of all-in. Creep spread is lacking, so a Queen Walk might be difficult, but at the same time Overlord speed could provide a potential creep highway over to this fourth base. Now, Rocks might be a bit of a deal breaker here, and it might really annoy SERRAL, but at the same time, I don't think that should be the end of the world. Disruptors are being warped in, or are being constructed out of these robotics facilities. And that is nice, but it is just a very awkward situation here, honestly. A very, very awkward situation here for a hero, because he has so much supply in Zealots, which aren't that great. Especially now that Banelings are out already. These Archons will not be capable of really fighting against the Roaches. So Disruptors will definitely need to help there. The only thing that SERRAL really is lacking is a quick hive, otherwise Vipers could have helped out so much here. Queens are being used defensively rather than aggressively. That is somewhat surprising. Splits are actually really bad out of SERRAL. Of course, this is being played on most likely probably the, well, West, I guess. The West America server West. And so that's like 160, 170, 180 ping out of Finland. So splits are not always going to be perfect, but that was just pretty poor movement altogether. So can't completely blame it on the ping. You can try, of course. I always try to do that, no matter what happens. Ooh, this Disruptor is going to get a connection with these Queens. This looks like a push that actually has some potential here out of hero, because, well, these Corruptors are not at home. I'm not quite sure what they would be doing either, honestly. I mean, with like 4 or 5 Phoenixes, not like these are going to be the end of SERRAL's massive CVP winning reign. At least I don't think so. Queens are dealing with them quite well. There was a Spore here as well. 5th base did get taken out as the Corruptors start heading back home. Supply looks like it's in favor of SERRAL, but in reality the ground supply is the only thing that matters at this point. And currently there's 4 Disruptors that can deal with every single Roach around, and there's really nothing that can deal with the Stalkers. There's nothing that can truly deal with the Disruptors either. I mean, the link count isn't high enough. There are no Banelings around either. One Disruptor might get targeted down. No, it will not. Gets to escape through the Stalker ranks. And I actually believe that SERRAL is in more than just a little bit of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble right now. Yes, he is killing bases by peeing on them with Corruptors, but at the same time, like, he's losing a lot of stuff himself. Still at 172 supply right now. More Ravagers being morphed in, but 10 Corruptors, 11 Roaches and 2 Ravagers is all there is against 26 Stalkers and 3 Disruptors, as hero is just kind of marching across the map and winning the game here after a poor start with that Phoenix build as well. GG gets called as hero takes the game and will be up 1-0 in this best of 3. I think the main mistake in that game out of SERRAL is just building so many Roaches, so many Corruptors and so many Queens and not using them aggressively. The Roach, the Queen and the Corruptor are all 3 units that fall off pretty quickly in a game against Protoss. Like, they have, I don't want to say hard counters, but I mean, the Roach does pretty much have a lot of hard counters. The Queen is good defensively always and will always continue providing value, but does fall off as a fighting unit the moment things like Archons and Disruptors come out on the map. So, yeah, seeing him construct so many units with a relatively short shelf life and then not attacking with it, trying to take out a fort base, was somewhat surprising. I'm not entirely sure, now that I think about it, if SERRAL was aware whether the fort base was already building or not. SERRAL might have thought that he was actually playing against like a 3-base all-in and built so many like kind of emergency units because of that. As Hero's just running away from this drone, SERRAL can't be bothered to actually deal with this properly. He's like, you know what? I'm way too lazy today to just right-click mineral patches for 5 minutes straight against your annoying probe. I'm just going to chase it with my drone. It is a little bit inefficient compared to just right-clicking at very high speed, but if you're playing on ping, sometimes this just feels a little bit more comfortable. And at the end of the day, it's not going to cost much more than 5, maybe 10 minerals or so. It's a small price to pay to save you a lot of frustration, perhaps. So, you know, the mental health versus money. SERRAL decides to pick mental health here. It's perhaps a decision that a lot of other people also wish they could take, deciding between money and their mental health. But a lot of people tend to go for the money. SERRAL here being a responsible adult, saying no. Nothing is more important than my brain here and how I feel on the day-to-day. And he's going to go into a pretty standard game here. Of course, Hatchery is not in the regular position. That's because it got blocked here by this worker, most likely. Or SERRAL is just feeling a little bit feisty. But that's definitely not the case. What is Hero going to do here? Twilight Council, Stargate again. Could once again be a late Stargate. I mean, that's what he did last game as well. Not getting tech yet, though, so I actually have no clue what this is. Maybe Hero isn't aware yet either what he wants to play. Okay, he's just not building tech. This is actually starting to piss me off a little bit. If this wasn't Hero, I'd say that this is bad. Might be double Stargate at the same time. Is a build that you sometimes see. Just not very popular. I'd be surprised if it's Twilight or a robotics facility. I mean, that would make absolutely no sense. Warp gate is pretty far in already. Could be maybe a third gate. No, it's not going to be that either. That's going to be double Stargate here. Look at that. So another double Stargate or a multi-Stargate build. Last time was triple Stargate, of course. Did not actually end up working out in the early game, but due to SERRAL's response, did end up winning. That's why we see that one at Hero's name and not at SERRAL's name. Metabolic boost about to finish up as well, 7 seconds from now. And I just kind of want to pay some attention here to how SERRAL actually scouts. Look at how surrounded this base is when it comes to vision. You have an overlord here on the far left side. You have an overlord over here that practically covers the bottom. And then you have links in the middle. The only area that's really lacking is, I guess, over here and maybe a small portion over here. 2 adepts are going to start moving out right now. SERRAL needs to be quick in his respawns, building a couple of extra links, because 2 adepts really pose a threat to him. Well, this is lovely. Hero just forcing out 6 adepts and then saying, or 6 links, and then saying, okay, I'm pretty sure you already built your links because you're a safe player. Now I'm gonna go home, kill this bad boy, and then kind of take it from there. This Stalker will be capable of denying the scouting, I think. I don't think the Overlord has enough HP to really... Oh my god, look at the chrono that's being saved up. Look at that. That's 150 chrono boost. There's almost 100 in the natural as well. This is kind of wild. SERRAL has no clue what's going on. He's building a Roach Warren. He's getting 10 links. He just is completely confused right now. And for a good reason. I mean, this is a weird build order. These links are coming in, wanting to try and kill this. The one kind of downside, the major disadvantage of Phoenixes is that it's just really difficult to take a third base, especially if you're going to end up losing these adepts. Oh no, Hero, this isn't happening. It's going to get absolutely destroyed here. Even without +1, these links will completely take out every single adept. Phoenixes don't fight well against links, and that means that a third base is now further away than ever here for Hero, who's going to be struggling, honestly, doing anything useful in his life in the next 2 minutes or so. The question that I have for Hero right now is like, hey, do you want to, you know, continue building links or and just continuously cancel that third base, or what is the plan here? Like, what are you actually going to be doing? So we do see a couple of overlords out on the map that can be taken out, so this might possibly supply block SERRAL over here, but at the same time there's so many queens here as well. This can be double transfused at least, I think. No, actually only a single transfuse. Might be somewhat dangerous. No, hero is too afraid, does not want to lose any more Phoenixes. Remembers what happened last game. Once you start bleeding out Phoenixes, stuff usually never goes back to normal. 2 more gates are being constructed as well as a forge here, and I'm honestly really liking SERRAL's position for a second time in 2 games. This is kind of what I was talking about in that first game, is that it often feels that in the early game, SERRAL is completely bulletproof. No matter what you throw at him, he has, you know, he just has a complete suit of armor on, and there's no holes in there. You can't take him out. 53, going up to 58 workers right now. So it's going to be... I kind of like the thought of just going up to 60 workers, sitting on 4 gases, getting like an attack upgrade, either for Lynx or for Roaches, doesn't matter too much. And from that point on out, maybe even getting a fort base, just using it for larvae, and then pure unit production from that point on out, in case you're being all in. But you don't really know what the follow-up is going to be, but just in case, I think it's not terrible. Now, honestly, if you take this out, then never mind. You can drone up to like 95 right now, if you're SERRAL. Like, you see this attempt of a 3rd base, this is pathetic. This was a really, really pathetic attempt. I think right now you just take a 4th, and you drone up to 95, and you kill them with a Brute Lord push in 2 minutes from now. Go into Ultras. Like mass infestors. Take over one of his probes and build a Manor Nexus in front of his base. Like, you literally could do anything right now. Tunneling Claws on Roaches, and Tunneling Claw underneath his unit in the wall, then throw away 25 Roaches for free, you're still gonna be up. Like, this is legitimately the worst situation that hero could be in right now. Luckily for hero, SERRAL is kind of respecting him. So SERRAL is building a lot of workers, or a lot of units, rather than workers. Because every worker that gets built right now is a good worker. It really is. There's absolutely nothing that hero can do about it. Like, he can look angrily at them with Phoenixes, maybe. He's like, I hate drones. But that's about it. Nothing else can be done. Fort Hatchery is on the way. Once again, Lynx coming in. Maybe these Phoenixes actually need to start helping out by lifting some... This is pathetic. The moment you're lifting Lynx with your Phoenixes, you know life is over. God, that feels so sad. It feels like it's the wrong tool for the job, you know? It's way too big of a tool. It's like the people that that buy one of these massive digging machines. What do you call them? Like these professional digging machines. I can't get to the word right now in my head. Just to dig a hole at the beach or something like that, you know, to start making a sandcastle. Also got like one of... a crane. Is that called a crane? No, that's a crane. Crane is different. What do you call these digging machines? A digging crane? No way. That would be a sick move, though. Go to the beach and bring one of the operators with you as well from the digging machine. What's the digging machine called? This is starting to piss me off. Quickly googled it. It's an excavator. That's the word I was looking for. So you get an excavator operator to the beach with you. You just start making a sandcastle. I think that's a big power move. It's also kind of a massive waste of resources. Both of money and of the guy operating the excavator, as well as the excavator itself. It can be cheap to buy one of those, huh? I bet renting one wouldn't be as expensive, though. It's probably kind of cheap. It always surprises me how cheap that type of stuff is. It's a cool car to have in general. Like, no one's gonna mess with you in traffic if you drive around one of those bad boys. Just knock them out with your massive... What's that thing called? The blade? It's not really a blade. Like the digger thing that picks up the sand. I still think this game is completely over. Like completely over. This is the ultimate disrespect, by the way. It's like SERRAL is just kind of willy-nilly walking. This is not a timing. He's like going into hive behind. He's getting +2 and bailing speed. He's like testing, you know? It's like in a boxing match. And you see SERRAL just like blowing hot air on his opponent, like then hoping that the other guy falls over. It's like, that is pure disrespect. It's basically what he's doing right here. Saying, I think you're so weak that if I were to blow some hot air on you, you might actually just drop, get KO'd by that. And then SERRAL tried, it's like, okay, it didn't work. Now I'm going to set up a real attack. I got my bailing speed on the way, got my +2 on the way. Second, okay, this is not even a dedicated attack. Like, SERRAL is just actually clowning on hero right here. It is just a little bit sad to see. Hero doesn't even realize it yet, I think. Both of these pylons will get taken out by these corruptors. Phoenixes are trying to rescue something, and one Phoenix gets taken out here. Good control on these corruptors, honestly, and they get to escape safely and for free. There's no +1 on the Phoenixes either, so this is, yeah, this is pure chaos. Chaos and sadness at the same time. A very poor combination. Disruptor count here, 5 disruptors. 2 Phoenixes being taken out. Oh, one more there. Yep, another one goes down. These Zealots are completely out of position, are going to get caught by these Lings right now. Disruptors are moving forward. Disruptors are always a scary unit, though. Like, you hit 3 big Disruptor shots, the game can just turn around. So SERRAL does need to be somewhat careful. That's probably why he's getting his Vipers as well. It almost feels like a TVZ army in a way. I guess you wouldn't have as many Roaches. Like some Ling Bane Queen Viper action to Blinding Cloud the tanks, you know, or to abduct a couple of tanks. Always feels good. There's just so many Banings here. I don't actually think that hero can push into this. Corruptors are in the main base, peeing on the Nexus there. We'll take that out eventually on creep. None of these Purification Novas are going to end up hitting. These Zealots most likely will just get taken out by a bunch of Banelings. Yep, there we go. 130 supply against 180. Here comes the Crimson Chin. No, here come the Vipers, but without energy, they're not actually super useful. There's still so many Queens, so many Roaches, so many Banelings. 44 more Lings and 15 more Roaches on the way. Good enough split here coming out of SERRAL. These Disruptors are going to end up falling most likely. Oh, target fire, target fire. No, it's not going to die before the Purification Nova expires. Zealots get pushed back as well. We have a couple more Purification Novas, and honestly they're dealing too much damage, but it's 188 supply against 90, so it doesn't really matter. They could be taking out 10 Queens at a time, and SERRAL would still be winning at this point. 3 base versus 6. GG gets called, and the series is all tied up. Game number 3 will be played over here on Inside and Out, as once again we had a probe blocking that natural hatchery, forcing SERRAL to take the 3rd base location. And after 2 games of multi-Stargate play, I'm kind of curious if hero has something else up his sleeve, or if this is it. Maybe he's wearing a t-shirt. Can't put too much up his sleeve. I feel like that would be a good rule anyway if you're playing poker with someone that's, you know, known for cheating. You just force them to wear a t-shirt. I feel like that also would make magic shows a lot more tricky for magicians if you force them to wear a t-shirt. Do some magic in the t-shirt, you know? Can't put a pigeon up your armpit then, can you, Chief? Exactly. No pockets in there. Unbelievable. They probably put like fake skin on then or something like that. And pull like the pigeon from there, like a massive skin bag. Something like that. Like from their belly. Like their arms. Magicians. I remember I once went to the IKEA and there was a magician there that had a trick with the rings. I was very young back then. Like maybe 8 or 9. And he had 2 rings that were connected. And then he would show me that, you know, he's like, now they're not connected anymore. And he just kept doing the same trick over and over, and he wouldn't tell me how it was done. I was getting really frustrated with this guy. Because he was just showing off, you know? He's like, aha, now they're together and now they're not. I just didn't understand it. Back then, Google wasn't quite as prominent yet. I just remember being very angry with him. The IKEA magician. Not quite sure why they let that guy in. If you're not gonna review his tricks to me, then what's the point of showing them? It's like a weird teaser, you know? This is the problem with most magicians in general. They're always just teasing you. It's like, a real magician never reveals his secrets. Well, then don't tease me with the, you know, the start of the secret. It's like if your neighbor comes in, it's like, oh, I've heard some very juicy story about our upper neighbor, but I can't tell it. It's like, well, then why would you say the first sentence? It's the same with magicians. They're just showing off initially with their cool tricks and then not revealing the true secret. No point whatsoever. I'll never go to a magic show in my life. I'll never pay for this. It's like being paid to just to be teased. It seems like a terrible deal. Absolutely terrible deal. What are these queens doing? I feel like these adepts could have perhaps dealt some more damage, but hero for once in his life was afraid and moved back. He's going to go into a 4-gate glaive attack though. And this is with a lot of gas, so most likely, once again, a multi-Stargate follow-up. Hasn't pulled out a gas whatsoever. There's not going to be a fast 3rd base with this. Or, well, there might be a 3rd base. It's not super fast. It's not super slow either though. It's a medium time, I would say. Medium time. Yeah, I like that. How many adepts is this going to be? 6. 4 minutes and 20 seconds in. Roaches already? How fast was this Roach Warren? I think SERRAL wanted to go for a Roach all-in. I think he had something planned here. He's playing 2 gas right now. This is the dark defense that a lot of Zerg players initially used against glaive adept attacks. Oh my. You can't lose any workers when you play this opener, by the way. It's absolutely not allowed. 2 Ravagers are being constructed. You have a powerful counterattack as well. If you ever get a surround on these adepts, the game just straight up ends. Protoss just dies because the bios will hit so hard, it will kill absolutely everything. Ravager there gets revealed. Look at this, this should not finish, this should not finish. There we go. Here we see the move forward with the Ravagers as well. Hero quickly needs to start shading back or recall right now. Uh-oh, this could be big trouble. This could be very big trouble. Do we get the bios? Do we get... No bios. Not in time at least. Still a lot of these adepts get taken out. And that is super painful here. Drones behind this. I almost feel like that if SERRAL would have committed with more roaches and more links, he might have just been capable of straight up winning the game here. We'll take out 2 more of these adepts. I don't think you can continue pushing here without link reinforcement. That Ravager is going to end up dying. Poor control here out of the young Finn. As 4 adept warping in the wall is going to keep Hero safe. 3 more roaches now are being constructed. An Evo chamber on the way. But this felt like a wasteful move out of SERRAL. I mean, it's a good move if you have a lot of reinforcements there. But like this, I don't think you're ever going to kill a Protoss player. After that surround in the middle, I think he should have just returned back home, kept a lot of his links alive, because right now he's forced to build more and more units, and oh my god. I think if Hero would have finished that, he probably could have dealt some real damage. Once again, trying to move in towards the third base, shading towards the main, and there's just not enough here. There's just not enough units here for SERRAL. These adepts are definitely going to end up finishing. Yep, and they will kill a lot of workers. Evo chamber gets built, but will get one shot if Hero decides to focus it. Does not decide to focus it. Almost feel like that was a mistake, but I'm not going to... disparage the King of Protoss right now. Does finish this one. Interesting call here. Loses 3, or kills 3 drones. Loses a couple of adepts. This Evo wall is complete. And is going to keep the drones safe. About an even game, I would say. Oh my god, what is this? No, Hero. He's playing the Gateway Man style off of a non-Stargate opener. Oh, this is actually illegal. If SERRAL had decided to go for any type of roach attack, this would be completely over. However, if SERRAL is gonna drone up and will not be aware of that fort base for quite a while, SERRAL could actually be in some major trouble here. This is all being done off 2 gases right now. This is a complete twist on anything we've ever seen before. Very high on the adept count. Follow up with charge. 6 gateways on the way as well. I mean, if all of that infrastructure is going to end up finishing and we get a single cancel here on the fourth base, Hero is going to be in such a sick position. SERRAL with some poor scouting here, some medium level decision making as well so far in this game, which I'm not a huge fan of. Kind of picking the in-between option every single time, not going for super aggression, not going for super greed, just kind of in between. I mean, we saw some pressure here, but he wasn't really in it with all of his heart, you know. He didn't really feel it. You need to feel all-ins in your soul when you do them, you know? It needs to come from the heart. It really needs to. This base is gonna get cancelled again. This is so bad here for SERRAL. If this actually ends up happening, Hero already tacking into Disruptors right now is such a huge play as well, saying, hey, I'm gonna get a crap ton of Zealots here, and I have really good eco. I'd love for Hero to just continue expanding, and then defensively just use Disruptors against a lot of this crap. This is an interesting attack, as there are no Banelings ready yet. Uh-oh. This is pure Zealot Adept, which is going to suck against Banelings, and we see a lot of these Banelings just explode all over the Zealot. I'm not even sure if this actually matters. We have a big warping in towards the main base as well. Roaches and Ravagers not great at splitting up. Banelings are a little bit better, but the Baneling count just isn't sufficient right now. 117 supply against 97. I still like this position a lot more for Hero than I like it for SERRAL. Purely because of this fort base that is already done here for Hero. We have another warping of Zealots in the main base. Queens need to come out to try and help as well here. Roaches will eventually win this fight, despite them not having any upgrades. But every single time you build a Roach at this point... Oh, that sucks. Just like losing the +2 melee really sucks. Is there a freaking dinosaur inside of an Evo chamber? Did you see that? Is that where they're hiding all the dinosaur bones? That's some wild plays here. 11 drones have gone down. SERRAL's still completely unaware of the fact that there's a fort base here. He believes he's being 3-base all-in right now. He's never going to finish it, figure it out, is he? Fort base is up, but I don't think SERRAL's going to drone up. He still believes if he just holds, he's going to be fine. The moment SERRAL sees that fort base, he's going to be so sad. We have 7 more drones on the way. This is a 5th base here for Hero, don't forget that. Who's 73 workers against 58. Oi, no +2 either, which means that these Banelings are not going to be too useful. Disruptors might end up dropping here. Can we get a drop of these Disruptors? 1, 2, 3. This is the time. This is the moment. No? Perhaps no? Perhaps yes? Now Gravitic Drive has finished up, so I think SERRAL knows that there's disruptors on the inside. Can you just get a single Purification Nova? I feel like it would have been better just to shoot it and miss than to just fly around this entire time, surely. Uh-oh. 1. 2. Ooh, that was really bad. Felt like it was harder to only hit 2 than, you know, to hit 6. Actually, pretty poor control there out of hero. Of course, there's some ping in play here. Let's not forget about that. Zal is just right-clicking this base right now. Going to deny this one, and that means it's going to be 5 base against 3. And I think SERRAL right now is feeling a little bit of pressure. He probably is feeling a little bit of pressure. Evo Chamber has been rebuilt, using once again some dinosaur bones for it. Let's not forget. Now that we figured it out, we'll never unsee it. I'm gonna go back in time to see it again. Oh no, watch those dinosaur bones fall out, that's for sure. SERRAL with a very high supply, relatively low worker count, high quality army as well. Hero has basically the opposite. Relatively low quality army. Well, actually, there's not that many Banes here, is there? 13 Banes. But Hero does have a very low quality army. Like, if you get 20, 30 Banelings against something like this, life is going to suck, honestly, for Hero. Because there's just so many gateway units he's relying on. Every single base is going to be safe, though, because, once again, no +2 melee yet on these Banes. Means that they're not going to be capable of just one-shotting probes, and that makes it really, really difficult. Hero pushing in once more. Purification Nova is going to connect with a single Baneling, poor guy. And it doesn't really matter. He explodes now or he explodes later. For the Baneling, it's going to feel the same. Guess he's just not going to feel quite as accomplished taking anyone with him. This is a very good run by. I did not think this was going to be possible, but this also is some serious dedication here, some serious committal coming out of SERRAL, who's struggling to hold at home. And yes, he kills 23 workers. He also managed to deal some damage here, which I apparently missed. This puts Hero very all in all of a sudden, but maybe Hero is okay with that, because he still has a lot of supply. Zealot flank coming in from the bottom side. Prism on the middle managed to warp that in. GG, good luck, gets called here out of SERRAL. Hero managed to win 2-1 in this best of 3, taking out the highest rated Zerg versus Protoss player in the world, and showing once again that he definitely is a force to be reckoned with when it comes to that Protoss versus Zerg matchup. Alright, that is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.